I'm going to go over how we do group lessons in my studios. So they are an hour long, and we usually follow about the same activities and formats. So we start off with our sight reading cards. They come in these cute little baby binders, and they are very short. They're short little phrases. We usually do it off the piano first, on the lid of the piano, on the floor. We analyze it. We mark dynamics, articulations, patterns. We're looking for anything that will help us so that when we're actually playing it, we're playing it correctly pretty much the first time, therefore sight reading it, right? And then we play it off the piano. We do fingerings, we say the note names, we say intervals, we say directions. We are trying to do all of it with the correct dynamics, articulations, even off the bench. And we play it usually 4 or 5 times before we even get to the piano, and then we pass them off. Now, when the kids are used to how we do the sight reading cards, they get to come in and they just start practicing it themselves, and then they pass it off to me. So they're not even on the same sight reading cards a lot of the times once we're into the semester, because they're going at their own pace, and they don't have to hurry up for somebody else or be held back. So they pass them off to me. Once they pass off 4, they get a sticker for the treat board. After sight reading cards, sometimes we'll apply it to real music or a challenge song. A challenge song is a song that's a little bit too hard for them, but something for them to strive at and challenge them. Challenge song is also a way that I can help differentiate between the levels. If one person is struggling, obviously I'll give them an easier one. One feels like they want to do something a little more difficult, then I'll pick a higher level song for them. So they'll apply those same techniques that we did during our sight reading and do it for that. Sometimes we'll do like a sight reading game instead, like do or dive, where you have to, if you make mistakes, then your little character gets thrown into shark infested waters and stuff like that. But that's pretty much my go-to, is our sight reading cards. After our sight reading cards, we do technique. Technique is something that we all do together at the same piano. So I go to the piano and I show them what we're doing, how we're going to do this. Technique is how we play music. What do we do with our bodies in order to make a certain type of sound, like legato or staccato. And so I show it to them. We do it. It's usually off the piano first, so that they're figuring out how to do it. If we're doing tall giraffe, do fingers first. We're lifting the wrist. We're figuring out how to use our arm weight. Maybe we'll use string on our wrist to get a heavy drop arm weight. And then we take turns at the piano. We line up and they all play it for each other. And this is so effective because when I was in college, I was an accompaniment for literally hundreds of voice students. And as a voice student myself, I was a vocal major. I actually learned more from being an accompanist for all these other students because I was hearing a whole bunch of teachers giving a whole bunch of different methods to correct the same problem. And so when they are playing for each other and they're helping them analyze, figure out if what they're doing correctly, what they can improve on, they're helping each other as a group to learn that. It's not just me saying, this is how you do it. They're reinforcing it with each other. It also gives them a little extra motivation to really try to get those things, because technique is something that can be so easy to overlook if it's just you, because you're like, nobody's gonna catch it if I don't raise my wrist like a giraffe. But if other people are there, then you're like, okay, I'm gonna use that proper technique. After we do the review song, after we do technique, we do a review song. So what did we do last week? We try to all play it together first. Sometimes it's a disaster, and sometimes it's fun. I'll play the piano, the teacher part, while all the students play together, and then we go and we pass off the songs individually. While I listen to the individuals, the other students are doing either working on their challenge song, either writing in their analysis, or they put their headphones on and do that, or they're doing a theory page. And that's usually pretty quick. If I go through and then, because it's the review song, they've already practiced it, makes some quick fixes if necessary. If they need more work on it later, we address it during headphone time, which I'll get to in a little bit. After we do our review song, pass that off, we go to the theory room. Our theory room is where we do our rhythm activities, we do our theory games. It's a great way to reinforce whatever principle we're working on. And when we're down there, we're finding a myriad of ways to reinforce one concept. If I'm teaching 3/4, we are just playing songs in the meter 3/4. We're learning the waltz. We're listening to music and different dances maybe that have that. We're learning to conduct it. We're doing ear training exercises and games that differentiate between 3/4 and 4/4, 2/4. There's just so many ways to approach it, and that's what we do in the theory room, is we find ways to solidify those concepts in ways not just while playing the piano. And I love it. The kids love it. It's fun. After our theory room, or after theory, we do our rhythm. And I often like to use one called Rhythm Menagerie. It uses animals. Oh, sorry, you can't see that very well. And it has different units in it that teach different notes, or note rhythms, I guess. Like unit 1 is quarter and half notes. Next one, it's introducing rests, etc. And so when I send these home, there's a little sidebar right here where they fill in the days that they practice. It's going to be in a protective sheet so that I can reuse them later. But they'll have a dry erase marker inside of their pouch, in their binder. Whenever we start a new unit, they get a page that looks like this, where they have a rhythm, and then every day they try to do it in a different way, whether they're playing it high, loud, soft, fast, slow. And so if I put rhythm or Rhythm Menagerie in their binders, this is what it's talking about. And it will be in the rhythm section of their binder. So after that, we come upstairs, back to the piano room, and we learn our new song. And it's usually something that we were just doing in the theory room, whatever new principle that we're doing. So we head to the piano, we go through the song, and then afterwards, we don't all play it together there. They grab their headphones, and we have headphone time. I do have headphones here that they can use, but if they have their own that they prefer, they're welcome to bring it. So it doesn't matter to me. But during headphone time is when I get to address bigger concerns with the students, and I get to spend a little bit more time. I have my own headphones, and I go and I listen to them while they're doing that. I usually start with one who I know is going to be struggling anyway, but they have these little cups on their pianos, and if they're struggling, they just turn around. That's the hand. It's not a very good hand, I know, but it means that they're raising their hands. And that way they can still be playing, and then when I see that this is up, I can come and help them as soon as I'm done with whoever I was working with before. And right after we do headphone time, they just take them out, and it's time to perform. How are we doing on this challenge song? Do they want to play their pass-off song that we did originally? Do they want to play a fun song? It's just a chance for them to perform for each other, just so that it's a normal part of the musicianship. It's not just like something that happens now and then. After they perform for each other, just for a minute or two, we have our ensemble time. That's when we're doing our trios. It's when or our quartets. It's when we are working on our internal pulse and beats, and it's one of my favorite parts for sure, because for kids just playing like a few notes at a time, it really enriches it when they're all playing at the same time, different notes, and it sounds like real music. After we have our ensemble time, we do Shades of Sound. So Shades of Sound is this program where I have themed songs and themed images, like a coloring book, for classical music. And this one happens to be a Valentine's Day one. I just picked it randomly. And it has a song, and then it tells a little bit about the composer that we read about, what to listen for about the piece. And then while we're listening to it, they have a picture of something that is about the actual piece, and they're coloring that in. Scientifically, when we are doing multisensory activities like that, our brain is making connections that it couldn't otherwise. Neurologically, it's just fire. Okay, I'm not going to go into the science of it, but it is a great way to help to introduce and not only like expose but immerse your children in beautiful music. And afterwards, they rate the piece. How much did you like it? What did you like about the piece, and how would you describe it? And they can add it to their repertoire sheet or their wish list. I would like to play that someday, or I really like that song. I'm going to go listen to it at home this week. And sometimes I will assign them to listen and to finish these at home if we don't get to finish them. But during that time when they're coloring those in, that's when I'm writing in their practice assignments for the week in their practice sheets for their binder. So that is the general outline of group lessons. It is super fun, and thanks for listening. If you have any questions, just let me know.